So, round two of 2017 Six Nations is 2/3 of the way through. In this episode, we can have a reaction to the Ireland against Italy game in Rome, as well as Wales' showdown with England. That's all to come. Alright, so actually, you can have a look at the Italy against Ireland game to start us off with. Well, what a result. 63-10 to Ireland. I predicted a 50-point winning margin on this one. Pretty close, 53 points. I think I'll give myself a pat on the back for that. Ireland were clinical, brilliant, excellent, played very, very well. Italy, the less said about Italy, the better. I don't know what is going on. I just think it's just the golfing class is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. No matter what the chief executives of European rugby are saying about Europe's improving, Italy are improving, they are. But the gap is getting so big now between Italy and the rest. Even Scotland are improving way past Italy. It's getting silly, and I think it needs to European rugby, the bosses need to have a long, hard look at this and think, what does the future hold for Italian rugby, Six Nations? Where do we go from here? Let's sort this out before it starts turning ugly. I think it starts obviously from the grassroots with Italian rugby. You've got 2 teams in the Pro 12. Do they need more? I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. All I do know is Italian rugby internationally is just in a mess. I think this, as a whole, it's in a mess. Not taking anything away from Ireland. They were superb. Big turn up compared to the Scotland game. They were excellent today. They were very, very, very good. All credit to them. Obviously, you got Keith Earls scoring a brace, CJ Sanders scoring a hat-trick, Gilroy scoring a hat-trick, and a try to Ringrose as well. You know, you got your back row scoring a hat-trick. You know, it's good day at the office. Italy's tried the penalty try. They just didn't. I think it's 28-10 at half-time, so it ends 63-10. It was just a battering. The whole game was just a battering, and it is not looking good for Italian rugby. Ireland move on to bigger and better. Italy, it doesn't get any easier for them. Moving on to the England-Wales game. Wow, I've got a bit of an in-depth review on this one because what a game it was. It was a fantastic game. Scoreline doesn't necessarily suggest it was 21-16, but it was a fantastic match to watch. It was excellent. There is no doubt about that. Let's just go through some of the points from the game that I noticed when I watched it. England's scrum again showed it was top notch. It held its own on its own put in. Wales' put in. It really, really tightened screws. Wales' running lines in their back line were generally hard and fast and straight. They didn't really try to create too much. When they actually did create, when they had dummy runners, Liam Williams scooted in for his try just before half-time. That was an excellent try, really good set-piece move. That was one of the very few times in that first half they tried to be deft instead of just straight through the middle. So that was really, really good. And they showed a little bit more of that in the second half. And they really caused England some problems. I was generally really worried at half-time, thinking if they continue like this, England have got little in the way of answers. Obviously, Wales kept their pressure up from half-time. The first 15 or so minutes in the second half, Wales were really on top, had field position, had possession of the ball. England at times, in the middle of the second half, they kind of lacked ideas a little bit. End of the first half too, sort of lacked ideas. They were giving it to stationary runners. They were just getting smashed. Wales' defence was just hammering them. And Ross Moriarty was at the heart of that. That guy made 5 or 6 big hits in the space of about 10 minutes either side of half-time. That guy was an animal. He played extremely well. Enough to keep Faletau out of the team, I'm not sure. I've never really been Faletau's biggest fan, to be honest. So Ross Moriarty, for me, is a breath of fresh air in that Wales team. Possibly him, Tipuric and Warburton were fantastic, and they completely outplayed the English back row, and be disappointed they didn't win that game. The efforts from those 3. Dan Biggar, much, much better game than last week. He played very, very well, 1 or 2 little areas, but he played very well on the whole. His second half disallowed try from that Reece Webber forward pass, that had me worried because Wales counter-attacked very, very well. And at that point, I was like, oh, geez, here we go. Wales are back, and they're back with a vengeance. Wales also defended up top very, very well. England carried a little bit tall. Wales got themselves underneath and had 4 or 5 strips of the ball, which is not good enough for England. At that level, they shouldn't allow that to be happening, whether that's a lack of support at the contact or they're just allowing themselves to get held up too easily. There wasn't really enough fight at the tackle area, so that's something that England have to work on. Wales held them up almost in that choke tackle very, very well. Stripped the ball a few times. That was excellent. Mike Brown, England 15, very disappointed for me. Last night I was very disappointed by his performance. He did very little that was good, really. He was solid enough in defence. He kicked out in the full a few times. He was just not at his best. Should England look at changing him now? There are some options they could put in there. Maybe now is the time. I think England have got enough depth in the back three to perhaps change him up now. Just because he's been in the team for a while doesn't mean he should stay in there now. Eddie Jones needs to be looking at weaknesses in this England team. It's 2 weeks in a row where they were pushed right to the end. They've got to cut these errors out, and Mike Brown made a few pretty critical errors, and any other day could have cost them this game. Nathan Hughes, limited impact. He got smashed in the tackle a few times. He did a few good things. He was solid. He didn't have the impact I'd want for my number 8. He's no way of Vunipola, that's for sure. England number 8 stocks at the moment, I'm trying to think of English 8, are limited. Vunipola is obviously injured. Nathan Hughes is next in line. I'm trying to think of someone else who could possibly play there. Courtney Lawes played 8 for Northampton in the past. Maybe. I'm not entirely sure who's going to go there. Nathan Hughes did okay, though. So I suppose he was up against it because that Wales back row was phenomenal. They played so well. One point of England's that were very, very strong was their drive and more from the line-out. Obviously, also their scrum as well. But their drive and more from the line-out made ground. Every time they did it, they made ground. And that was a real strength. It's been a strength there for a little while now, so that's excellent to see it continued. There's not too much more you can add to that other than the fact that the backs, if you force making ground, the backs really got to make more use of it. Don't necessarily go wide straight away, but you've got to make more use of it. I don't think England's backs actually did that. Wales' back defended pretty well, pretty tightly, solidly. One thing I'd say also about England's replacements is, yes, I think England's replacements for the second week in a row made a massive impact and probably won the game in the end, particularly up front. The replacement of the backs, Ben Teo came on and played very, very well. Give him his dues. He ran, I think, 1 or 2 really, really good lines, made some inroads. Excellent. I said last week we wouldn't have him in my team. He's actually that backline player. He's the bulk at the moment. The England backline's fairly small. And even though I really want Henry Slade in there somewhere, a player like Ben Teo gives you another option, that kind of big, straight, solid running option, I suppose. So actually, maybe he should be in that team, but me personally, I want to see someone else in there. Another one, Haskell. Now, this is a point of contention, fairly interesting. He had an amazing winter tour, or summer tour in Europe, came down to Australia, had an amazing tour against Australia, played very, very, very well. The thing with Haskell is he is a physical specimen, but I'm not entirely sure if he's got a lot up top. When he gets on the pitch, I saw him a few times in defence line, he's getting pushed around all over the place. He's like that sort of second team ringing that you get. He rocks up on a day, he doesn't really know what he's doing, gets pushed around by all his other teammates to get him out of the way somewhere. For me, yes, he hits hard and yes, he runs hard, but he is an absolute liability when it comes to penalty count. He needs to cut that out. He needs to smarten up, or he's not going to be in this team for much longer. Every time he gets a breakdown, I'm just hold my breath because this guy's going to give away a penalty for something or another. It's going to be a penalty. I really hope he sorts it out because he should be England's leading 7, and at the moment, because I think he's a bit thick, he's not, basically. Okay, so I actually decided to make a team of the game for the Wales against England match. I thought I'd give it a go. So I got Joe Marler at 1, Jamie George in at hooker. I think he was probably the standout hooker of the game, even though he played sort of 35 minutes in the second half. He was excellent. He's great at the breakdown, played much better than Hartley, and he sort of overshadowed the Wales hookers a bit. Dan Cole in there as well. Second rows, I got Alan Wynne-Jones and Joe Launchbury. I was very surprised that Joe Launchbury was given man of the match. Yes, he played very well, and his stats will show that. But I think if Wales had won that game, he wouldn't have got a man of the match. It always seems to go to a player within the winning team a lot of the time. Anyway, I think maybe Tipuric should have got it. Warburton maybe, but Joe Launchbury, yeah, okay. Back row, all Wales back row. Warburton 6, Tipuric 7, Ross Moriarty 8. I think they just dominated England's back row, so they should definitely get in there. 9, I got Rhys Webb, played extremely well. 10, I got Dan Biggar. I actually think he outplayed George Ford. George Ford is quiet. I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe Owen Farrell starting at 10, with Ben Teo starting at 12, possibly. George Ford just seems a bit quiet at the moment, a bit subdued. I'm not sure what's going on. Owen Farrell in at 12, Jonathan Davies in at 13, very good game. Liam Williams at the left wing, probably one of the world's best players at the moment. Elliot Daly on the other wing, and Lee Halfpenny in at fullback. Let me know if you agree with that selection, guys. Who would you put in? Who would you put out? Very interesting. Review the France-Scotland game tomorrow when I do my round 3 and a bit of a third of the way through kind of analysis of the tournament. Hope you liked it. Give a like, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.